warm welcome once again, and thank you for keeping it right here on Sunrise at CU, just in time for the Twitter Jabs, where we discuss trending conversations on Twitter, but also we discuss conversations that are of national interest to Uganda and of course the country at large. Well, today, and actually this particular incident, or what we're discussing this morning, the conversation falls around the fact that the Uganda National Roads Authority did come out to pledge to have the Entebbe Express Highway lit up before the end of the year. Now, this particular commitment came in after lawyer Michael Aboneka petitioned the Works and Transport Ministry demanding street lights on the Kampala-Entebbe Express Highway as well as the Kampala Northern Way. Well, this on a letter dated March 23rd, 2022, and he did address this letter to the Honorable Minister of the Ministry of Works and Transport, and he said, "I present my compliments to your good office. I am a Ugandan citizen and an advocate of the courts of the Judiciary of Uganda, a proponent of the rule of law, human rights, democracy, and good governance." And he goes on and asks, "Are you aware that the Kampala-Entebbe Express Highway and the Kampala Northern Bypass are engulfed in darkness as they have no street lights?" Well, he did petition, and we did not get any response as of now, but joining me today to discuss this conversation is none other than the lawyer himself, who did go ahead to petition and inquire to the Ministry of Works and Transport as to why we do not have street lights both on the Northern Bypass and the Entebbe Express Highway. Good morning, Michael, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Shivan. I'm happy to be here to discuss a matter that pertains all of us and for the well-being of this country.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy that CTV has picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to my far right is none other than Mr. Alan Sempebwa, and he's the UNRA spokesperson. Good morning, Alan, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning, Shivan.
Yes.
Glad to be here once again.
Glad to have you again.
Always a pleasure, I can tell you.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into the conversation. And like I said this morning, we're highlighting key facts and, of course, interest brought to our attention in regard to the lack of street lights on both the Kampala-Entebbe Express Highway and the Northern Bypass. So my first question would go to you, Council. What compelled you to write to the Minister?
Thank you. I think I started this discussion of demand for lights, street lights on both Kampala Express Highway, the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway and the Northern Bypass way back in 2020. And the discussion was, the road is coming to completion, or it's now accessible, but it's very dark. Is there a plan? We are seeing guys, the contractors taking their materials and going away. So what is the plan? And then you're seeing some few posts around the intersections. I think that's what they call it in the language. So the question was, or is, are we going to have some lights here or to CDK? And you see, I am part of the movement of Tosidika.
So you're against OCDK? Or
I'm against OCDK.
Okay.
So then I said, but someone is responsible. So since then, I started writing on Twitter, demanding, asking UNRA, asking the Minister of Works, and the Minister himself, because he's always available on Twitter, about these issues. And no one ever responded, or even to respond and say, shall get back to you. Now, that's the problem in this country, that we put a lot of demands, but there is always no feedback from government, from the powers that be, which is not a good thing. Sometimes telling us, it's okay, guys, we're working on it, and this is the roadmap, is good enough. So there was no response. So as a citizen, what do you do? Like they're saying, what do you want us to do? So I wrote an official letter to the minister, copying in UNRA, because UNRA under Section 6 of the Uganda National Roads Authority has functions that they do under there. But you see, what perturbed me on that road is that we are paying a road toll. I pay a road toll on that road, and other Ugandans. And they have collected over billions of money in terms of road toll. And the minister said that part of that money is going to go towards maintenance. Now, there are no police patrol cars that I saw. The ones that I see, I think, are for either UNRA that keep moving around, and I'm wondering, do they have the security bits about it? Are they security conscious? Or are they just driving around patrolling? Number two, why do you ask police to pay a road toll? Police is government. And police was raising this matter. It is possible for us to say, as police, these are the cars that we have identified. These are the patrols, 4 of them, they'll be working interchangeably, you know, and then we get security. That road has no security. There has been increasing criminality on those roads. I have over 200 cases of people who were maimed, beaten on the northern bypass. And it is the state's responsibility to protect its citizens. By the way, those citizens actually have a cause of action against government if they went to court. Actually, they are planning to do. So I think that in this country, we should not look at things trivially. Tomorrow, anyone can get stuck on that express highway, but I'm happy that now, you know, there are people moving around 24 hours trying to make sure the road is safe, but I don't think they're security people. It's just a patrol, a UNRWA patrol car. I think they're 2, they keep moving around. So my question is, are they security or they're just patrolling for what reasons? Okay. So beyond that is that we need a safe Uganda. I looked at the project documents of these 2 roads, and I did not see the lights there. So maybe Alan is going to help us. Was this part of the design, or it was an afterthought? Okay. That, oh, by the way, this road costs about $479 million. And then you say we can't have lights. Then the next question that I was asking, that why do you commission a road when it's not ready? And you start asking us to pay money, but there are no lights, as simple as that. And I know UNRWA has done a good job. And why I copied in UNRWA? Because of the statutory obligation they have under the Uganda National Roads Authority Act. So I think that moving forward, let's have these answers. And we want this urgently. At least come and say this is the roadmap. That fellow Ugandans, yes, it is our responsibility. We are very sorry for those who have been robbed. I don't know if they are going to refund all the phones that were stolen, because actually they have an action against government. Because you can't tell me, I think I heard this during your Twitter job conversations, that, oh, citizens, please walk safely. Why should I move with my windows up because I'm fearing someone take my phone? And this government keeps saying, we brought you security. So where is the security on the roads of Uganda? So that's the big question.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Councillor. Now to you, Mr. Sempebo, as the UNRWA spokesperson, I do believe that you received this particular information and it was brought to your desk. So responding to what Council has mentioned, but also how does UNRWA plan to handle this matter?
Okay, thank you very much, Shivan. And I would like to appreciate the opportunity this morning to interface or meet my brother Aponeka. I've seen the correspondences, his correspondence, and several other outbursts, or should I say concerns on social media.
Yes.
And I've been trying to, again, take note, because the letter is limited to a few areas, but here he's quite elaborate on probably what his concerns are. Again, I want to say that the government of Uganda is a responsive government. That one I want to bring it out very clearly to allay the fears or the hopeless situation maybe Michael has tried to paint of relating to insecurity, no feedback, and ultimately no action. But I want to say that the government is a responsive government of Uganda. It's a very responsive institution, and they actually plans to respond to some of the needs of its citizens. When we noticed that indeed we had designed a road, the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, and there was no provision for lighting. One was mainly because of the cost. Efforts were actually made to ensure that we now include lighting or bring lighting on board. In fact, even before the commissioning of the road in 2018, it was brought out that the lighting will actually be done. But that will be when we have a contractor that will be managing lighting on the express, or rather operations and maintenance of the road on the expressway. We now have that contractor on board, and one of the mandate or obligations of the contractor is to light. We have planned to light, to install over 1,000 lights, each separated by about 50 meters from the other, along the entire stretch of the expressway from Busega to Mpala. And for us, actually, the activity has commenced. I take the privilege and singular honor to inform you, Michael, that installation of lights on the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway has actually commenced.
I hope I get a written response to my letter.
Yes, I think you wrote to the minister. It should come through. I'm sure it will come through. Actually,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has commenced. Why? Because we've already laid the areas where we're going to put the poles, the distribution lines, and the substations. We have about 12 substations across the different toll plazas. These will be to just enable or ensure reliable power supply, because we'll be running on the Umeme grid, ensure that there is reliable power supply.
I thought solar.
Not a bit reliable after different studies.
Okay.
So we think this will be more reliable. So we actually have it on board. So it has actually commenced. We're now doing the clearance of the actual lamps and the poles in the customs department of URA. Once it comes, process will then meet the other process that has already kicked off, and we'll start.
Still looking at some of the responses that were coming in on social media, and earlier on my colleague and I actually did highlight some of them from the tweets that were coming in, and the council here has still reoked them. That, do you think it was maybe too soon, or you shouldn't have commissioned the road if you were not ready, if the street lights as well had not been, because then the road is not fully put up and secure?
Well, yes and no. You have a road completed, motorable. You still have the congestion on the other part of the alternatives. So you then have this conflicting. Absolutely. And you have, yes, for example, the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, we had no tolling law yet to collect, we couldn't collect, but you have a complete road and you have congestion on the old road. So then you have this conflicting loyalty. Say, should I leave the road until it's probably all the amenities are put, but it's motorable, people can actually use it as we come in to manage the insecurity bits. And the police did a very good job then before we opened it up. They tried, but we kept, pushing to see that there is an effort to make the road secure. But we couldn't afford to leave it. It would be a white elephant. We couldn't afford to leave it out of use, yet it's actually, in a way, motorable and complete.
Okay.
To also relieve pressure and traffic on the old road. So, like, yes and no. That pressure, to meet the pressure from the road users to have an alternative, but also as we work towards doing the last bits of the finishing works.
So, Councillor, do you think maybe it was a bit too soon for UNRA to have that road, especially now in this regard, we're first talking about the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. Do you think it was too soon to have the road commissioned if streetlights had not been set up yet?
Well, I buy his arguments, because sometimes you need to balance. But I think also it comes back to the whole idea of planning. As government, as entities, I know in construction there are always challenges, especially things of compensation. The SGR hasn't kicked off. There are still many issues. I know there are always many issues. But I think that we should learn, because I'm not hearing about the northern bypass. This road has been here, they did the first phase, and now they're doing the second phase. So maybe I also want to know whether Kampala Northern Bypass lighting is also being considered. Have we also procured some lamps, or what is happening? It is a beautiful road. You just find now posts, for example, the bypass at the interchange at Chisasi, very dark, and you're running all the way from Mundere. It is a slope. You cannot see the border, and sometimes the border guys have no lights on them. So it's crazy. And you see, because there are no lights, motorists are forced to drive in full beam. Now, when you're driving in full beam, it is also dangerous for others. But again, what do you want them to do? If I cannot see, I have to beam. And you see that express road is not like these feeder roads. The speed there, they tell you now this is 80, this is, so you can't be going at 30, they'll knock you. It's an expressway. So if you cannot see, so I think for me it is an issue of planning, and we need to always plan ahead.
Yes.
We took long even to have the tolling law in place. And I think Ugandans were like, they have not yet started collecting money. But the thing is that, once I give money, and I've been jokingly telling your colleagues at the toll gate that Banange minister mumugambe twagala ku matala. They say kale tujja mugamba. I don't know whether they tell him, but just a sense of I am paying my 5K. And I'm, you know, sometimes I apply 5 times on that road, and you're wondering, okay, all these 50,000 I've spent, can I get a lamp?
You need, hold someone accountable.
Hold someone accountable. So for me, I think that I love this, that, okay, something is underway, but is there a plan for the Kampala, for the northern bypass? But also, is there a plan for other roads that UNRWA is in charge of that are too dark? Apart from the cameras that police tried to put, you find like one post of light at where the camera is, but the entire stretch is dark. So what do people do? They go and commit crime, the other part that is dark. So I think that I think, Alan, we need to now have this conversation, take it nationally, in the national road networks. Can we get money and see how we revamp our roads, just not in terms of potholes, but security? Because if I cannot use the road because it's insecure, then the road is actually useless for me. I think for me that is the major discussion we should be having on those ones. Lastly, on that, is that when citizens are not safe or don't feel safe, you can't tell them that there is a presence of government. If every day I'm being robbed, if every day I can't go on the road, they tell you, by the way, that road by 6 don't go. But then you have a whole government you pay tax to. As citizens, we give 2 things to government. We give them power through a vote, and then we give them taxes. Okay. And what we expect is effective service delivery. So I think that I love this, that the conversations have started, and it is interesting that the Minister for Transport liked my tweet yesterday about the driving permits, but they have not even responded to the ones concerning the lights. So I think that probably the conversation is coming up.
Well, that video that you're seeing playing currently in your screen is actually an incident that happened at the Kampala Northern Bypass. So Alan, as a representative, as a UNRWA spokesperson in that regard, and also in regard to what the council pointed out, because you clearly see that someone got a brick and threw it right through the window. What is the plan when it comes to the Kampala Northern
Bypass?
Yes, thank you very much. Let me just take you back to what Aboneka was trying to raise. Again, for the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, indeed we need to draw the distinction between Expressway and the Northern Bypass. There is actually effort to offer a service by the government of Uganda. Maybe lighting is indeed a sensitive item, yes, but there is effort to actually give so much to the road users of the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. I told you that unlike other roads, this road is maintained regularly, on a regular basis. We have 24/7 patrols. I used that road, even this morning I used it. Yeah. So I know I can actually move at any time of the day and still move safely. And we've actually not had incidents. Indeed, what we've actually had is feedback, people telling us how they've been helped, people running out of fuel and their cars taken away to either gas station or toll plazas for help. So you imagine somebody stranded at 2 a.m. and they have no help. So now you can actually call the toll-free line, and at no cost somebody comes and attends to you. So there is effort to really show that the service is being provided. So that is the responsiveness on the bit of government. And
that is now in regard to the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. Now, how about the Kampala Northern Bypass?
I wanted to clarify. I wanted to tell him that there is so much more being done. Now, on the Kampala Northern Bypass, yes, we have also an insecurity problem there, but we're not saying the insecurity problem on the Northern Bypass is purely because of lack of lights or of no lights at all. It is a bigger problem than we may actually think. Northern Bypass is built in a almost urban, not even fully urban place. And you know the locations of Chebando, Kisasi. Police has over time notified us of criminal elements and gangs around those places. So they take advantage of either darkness. Of darkness. But also take advantage of unsuspecting motorists or pedestrians or any other person using the road. And this can actually be anywhere, even without the darkness, because they come in actually in full light. Because when you're driving, your car is actually beaming light. So sometimes I think much as while we have to provide for lighting, we also know that that would not be enough to scare these criminal elements. In fact, even the police has actually tried to beef up. But the good news is we have a program to rehabilitate the old northern bypass. You know, when we finished the new one, you may have noticed that there was a section of the old which was already beginning to give way at certain sections. But we have a program underway to rehabilitate that section, and lighting has been provided. For now, lighting has been provided at the busy sections. We call them interchanges, or what we call intersections of Bukoto, Kisasi, all the way to Busega, the Bwaise interchanges. So wherever there is an interchange, we've actually provided for lighting, because those are the most busy sections. On the other sections, probably vehicles are actually moving too fast, and that is why you see we actually haven't concentrated on those. But where there are busy sections, people intersecting or meeting, there is actually lighting to ensure that people move safely, but also can interact safely with other road users.
Okay. So, Council, would you like to react to that before we move on?
Oh, yes. I think for me is, let's have that rolled out, because now it's public demand. Actually, there is more fatality on the Kampala Northern Bypass than even the Expressway, because you see, road users are not just the guys driving. I don't know if you're going to chase away motorists, a guy riding a bicycle on the Kampala Northern Bypass. But also, Kisasi interchange, there are no lights. It's dark. You know, I don't know when the lights are starting. And yet in the trading center, which is just newly constructed, they are lighting. So we need to, I think, take this as a matter of seriousness, because if citizens are not safe, it's not good for us. The black tarmac is only useful if we can use it at any time.
Absolutely. So would you say that there is a planning deficit when it comes to the Ministry of Works and Transport?
I think as a citizen, if I see no light, or if I don't see amenities I'm supposed to have, of course that's what I would say. But I think what my recommendation is, and these are the things we used to discuss while in these joint annual reviews and what have you, that can MDAs talk to each other? Can we talk to each other and harmonize in unity on the things we need to do? Is UNRWA talking with Works well, things like that, so that there is that bit of harmonization and working together, because that is very important. It's also finance talking to these people, because now they will say this is what we need, and then finance is going to tell them we don't have money for that, but then they have money for iPads for MPs and they're still printing. So priorities are mixed up.
Okay. But
we need, because the president of this country is very keen on infrastructure, and there is road network. You go to Palisa, I've been everywhere. The roads are being done. But beyond just saying the tarmac is here, are we able to use it? The thing of usability. So we need to work on that. And I really hope that the Kampala Northern Bypass is also put into consideration. Because you see, the devil is always roaming. So don't give them chance. So when the darkness is there is more devil, So let's sort it out and see what works. At least let us start with the interchanges, you call them, that have lights throughout, and then we see if we can roll it out.
Okay.
And also, even within, I know there are some roads that are not under UNRWA, but probably under KCC, like this Intindatu Road, very dark. You don't know how many times I've talked to KCC here. You don't know how many times people have been robbed just here in Intindatu Road. So you reach at a point and say, but when am I getting a holiday as a citizen of Uganda? Every day is just too much work. Can some people just respond at least? So I think that let's build a country together. Let's fix our roads. Let's fix the lights. And also prioritization. The guys that make the budgeting and what have you. So can we also prioritize? Because I know the president is very keen on the infrastructure of this country.
Okay, so as we wrap up the conversation, Alan, any last remarks for someone that is watching this morning and they feel very disgruntled because of the kind of experience they've had either on the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway or even on the Northern Bypass?
Thank you, Shivan. Mine is maybe to give hope, but also our commitment to making things better. That is our mandate, really, to give an efficient road network that road users can actually use for their different commitments or assignments. We've improved along the way in so many areas, and we are now proud of the Kampala Entebbe Expressway because we've provided for really beneficial services on the Kampala Entebbe Expressway. We've learned from actually nowhere. This has been, even those will also provide for them at the different toll plazas.
Yeah.
So we've actually gone a long way and see where we've actually now arrived. So, but we constantly keep improving. Areas of where there are deficiencies, we keep improving. And this is why we've actually implemented the very first toll expressway in the entire East African region. So for us, that is something to pat our shoulder about. Where we need to improve, we rely on feedback, like from council and different other citizens to try and we welcome it. In fact, we welcome it and we respond to it so that we tell the public, or the public is aware, is able to move with us alongside our different development activities. So we don't want to leave anyone behind. We want to move at the same pace. The feedback we shall actually share, which is why when I was invited, I said, why not? Because we have a program. We have something in the pipeline, so why not talk about it? Yeah. So it is public information. It's not a secret that we're going to light the expressway. It's not a secret that we're going to actually improve lighting on the Kampala Northern Bypass. So always available to share this information whenever it is actually needed. Absolutely.
So Council, finally, your last remarks in regard to this conversation of the Kusirika.
For me, finally, is that because we didn't Kusirika, we are here with Alan, and I hope that we can move forward to make Uganda a greater place. There's no one who hates this country because the things we do because we love this country, and we also hope that this is treated as a matter of urgency. As MPs, as ministers, as the president, let there be a directive and money be gotten to fix this so that we move and people are happy. So we don't have to wait till 2025. We can do this now. Okay. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me this morning on Sunrise at Sea and being a part of this conversation. Special thanks to you, Alan Nunura, spokesperson, and of course, Council Mike Kaboneka. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Well, that winds up the conversation that we had for you this morning on the Twitter jabs. I do hope that your queries and worries have been answered, but we still do have an amazing show lined up for you. We take a quick breather, but when we do return, Agi Uwase will be talking loan servicing in regard to financial wellness. Keep watching Sunrise at Sea and don't blink.